All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. Let's cover a bunch of stuff. I want to talk about a little bit about what I mentioned in the last video because I didn't want to scare people, throw people off, but I want to give you guys what's going on in the market. Cover some, Bitcoin, ETH majors. Then we'll get into a bunch of altcoins that I'm looking at. Bottom line, this is going to be a time that you should be looking to start adding some altcoins, guys. We have fear and greed at 10. Personally, I do not even remember the last time we had the crypto fear and greed index this low. Sentiment is at an absolute mega low point. Like, I remember how bad sentiment was. I mean, you can just look at Bitcoin now. If you guys have been here for a year, a couple of years, through this cycle, it's like you remember how bad sentiment was. August 2024, when that happened, when we were down here, same thing. Sentiment was bad, but here it just seems like another level of unbelievably down bad. But usually, guys, the biggest thing, biggest lesson, I don't care if you get nothing from this video, biggest lesson I can give anyone in the market, bro. Trade emotions. Emotions, emotions, emotions. When sentiment is in the shit, that's a mental buy signal. When everyone is making money, when every coin is god candling, that is not your fucking buy signal. That is your get the fuck out of these coins signal. Your sell signal. When everyone thinks they're, the best trader alive, trade on emotions. When everyone's euphoric, that's when you should be starting to take profits. When people are shitting their fucking pants right now, thinking the bear market has just started, that's when you want to be buying. So that's what I wanted to cover because in my last video I talked about Bitcoin and potentially where it could be going though. Because, going forward, based on like just my charts and stuff, for whatever reason, well, I mean, I feel like through the charts that I'm talking about, I have a good feeling about long term. But still, the biggest thing that I wanted to mention was in my last video was one, I think we're going to bottom either somewhere where we are or a little lower in between 88 to like 92. Once we just settle in this range, that's going to be it. And I'm like 95% confident this general area will be the bottom. But when I say that, I don't mean the bottom as in from here, we are now going to just rip into a brand new high in 2 months. That is not the case. I don't know if that will happen. Do I think it will? Like, maybe. But number one is I want us to bottom. And number two, I want to see us actually just go back up towards this, our old support now flipped resistance again. And that is it. I want us to be catching coins while we're down here when sentiment's in the dumps right now. Catching the bounce, at least for a little bit, on some altcoins. And then from there, just reevaluate. That is the main, idea of my video that I wanted to cover. That I think it was very important because then from there, I was saying, okay, maybe from here, depending on what the market does, we could bounce. We could just eventually keep printing, go into another leg, or if it doesn't hold, maybe we end up failing and coming back down to support. Then if for some reason, if that cannot hold going into the early middle of next year, maybe we come back down. That's it. So bottom line right now, I am bullish. I'm bullish at least for a good relief bounce. And again, it's not going to just hit tomorrow. Maybe we get a little Sunday pump. But again, you got to keep in mind, guys, that when we have a correction, it's not just going to go up only once it's done. It's not going to just, go like this. It will chop. We'll probably get maybe Sunday because Sunday we've been pumping every fucking time. We might get a push back to like 97, 98. Do not just get FOMO to full port something there. I'm telling you, maybe it is the true bottom, but just let it play out. If we do end up coming down one more time, I'm personally waiting. I'm slowly DCAing right now into some coins. That is it. I'm not even trying to rush. I'm not even for a single altcoin that I'm throwing capital in. I'm still spacing out my buys. It's like I'm not even just buying one altcoin, two, three right now. I'm taking my sweet time at the moment. There's no need to rush. Do not rush this market right now. But bottom line, Bitcoin is going to have to bottom out, and that is the main thing I'm trying to get to everyone. It needs to chop and build structure first, which that is going to take at least a few days alone. Maybe it is here. Like for example, maybe this is what it does. We end up chopping, pushing up, coming back down, and then it pushes bullish, right? Maybe then that was the bottom for the time being. But just let that play out. Biggest thing, that was the main thing I wanted to cover for the moment right now as far as Bitcoin. Like I said, guys, we have fear and greed at 10. Oh, you know what? Let's see. What is it at now? 10 again still. This just refreshed like 2 minutes ago. So we're still in extreme fear. Again, if I've learned anything in this game of investing, not even just crypto, buy when everything looks like, a recession starting. When shit's about to hit the fan. That's when you want to be jumping in. Again, space out your buys. If anything, do your research now. Look up good altcoins. That's going to be what you want to do right now. But, that's what this video is for. I'm going to cover a bunch of coins that I'm watching. With these coins, guys, I'm not holding all of them. And again, I will likely be DCAing into most of these very slow. Again, I'm just playing it by ear as far as what this dip wants to do, but I'm not just buying a full clip of something at once because, again, we still could come down a little further. So, we'll cover Bitcoin, ETH, and then I'll just talk about a bunch of different posts, tweets, and then, a couple narratives too. Because I've been meaning to make a ton of different narrative-specific videos, but, the last, 2 or 3 days, I've just been going all in researching, trying to find the best potential coins within each narrative. Is like I feel like if I put a video out and then I miss 2, 3, 4 different coins that have that value that could be really good buys that I just miss because I didn't take the time to do it, but kind of putting those off. So just still going all in trying to find some of the best bets. But anyways, ETH looks still to me, guys, ETH just looks like it's still in no man's land. Like, there is no support here. This is not a support level. Like, oh, yeah, maybe, in the 4 hour or the 30-minute, you zoom in over here, it's actually touched. Dude, no. Look at a high time frame. Where the fuck is the nearest support down here? This is it. There's nothing here, and that is why I still think we have a little bit to go. Unless ETH just miraculously can triple bottom, quad bottom, flip that momentum from the lows to show us that, hey, this is actually where it's, this is where we're going to bottom. So that's what I'm waiting for. Excuse me. Solana, though, I haven't even looked at Sol in a while. This chart looks very weird to me. Very odd chart. But bottom line, same. This could go a little lower back to the support range. Same thing, and I would definitely expect a big bounce off of that. So, if anything, this is what the Sol chart's going to look like, whether it's down here or something like this, in my opinion. But from there, same thing. Off of the big bounce that something like that would have, definitely want to reevaluate everything once we start really bouncing. Anyways, let's cover a ton of different altcoins. I'm going to talk about a bunch of random ones that many of you may not have heard of, but a lot of the same ones too that I cover a lot. We'll start with high caps. I get higher caps, but mid caps. So we got virtual, guys, number one. I'm still fairly bullish on virtual right now. I still think their ACP stuff, they have a ton of innovation going on. And again, the main thing too that I love about it is the projects underneath the virtual eco. It's like you have projects within every single narrative in crypto, and it's just, this is the ecosystem token. There's not too much I could even talk about it. And I guess with that, also Game by Virtual, which Game is down a little bit. I've just been holding this for a while now. But yeah, Game has been kind of just holding, chilling the support for a while. But same thing, I'm still very bullish on virtual in that sense. I think going into the end of the year, these AI agents have continued to just be on and off. But Game is definitely something I think is great. It has a mini flywheel in and of itself. Definitely a very good beta play to virtual. That's just one of my, holdings at the current moment. There are a bunch of coins, as you guys can see. I always update different stuff. But number two that I want to talk about obviously is Zora. Zora, I still like Zora a lot. I do want to see this have a bounce. I mean, it looks like it is right now because actually the time just changed, so all the candles also just changed on these coins. But Zora's getting a little bit of a bounce. Same thing, the eco within Zora I think is, it's actually been popping off a little bit on and off. Ton of random Zora coins have been starting to move. Let me see here too, because I've actually been looking into privacy a lot. If you guys watched one of my last videos, I talked about narratives. Privacy 2.0 to me is like very bullish. I think it's just the next rendition of where privacy is going to go, even though I don't think a lot of people fully see that vision yet. But that's the case where it's like I've been watching this coin called Nillion. Nillion is pretty interesting. The fundamentals I think are pretty strong for it, but same thing. This is obviously a coin that's been out for a long time. They do have unlocks happening, but they are doing a lot with their tokenomics to actually upgrade them, and they have token utility at the moment, as in through they deal with private compute, private data storage, stuff like that. And every time that someone is using the Nillion network for private anything that they need, the Nillion token currently is burned, but they're going to be upgrading their tokenomics to make it more community friendly, which in that case for, node operators and stuff, I think it's going to be pretty bullish. But as far as actual token utility and what I like to look for, which is like a flywheel, things like that, I don't know how bullish that's going to be. But nonetheless, I think this is going to operate, or not operate, but probably perform decent. And this is not a video to just say, oh, I'm calling Nillion here. Like, this is just one I've been researching, guys. I do not hold a Nillion. I don't own it right now. But another one too I do want to talk about. This is actually on Base. Let me just pull it up on Base. But we actually have Edel Finance. This one has been doing very well, and it's actually been trending, which, I mean, that's kind of crazy. It's been trending now for like a day or so. But Edel, this one is actually very bullish. This is also something that kind of exactly defined what I mentioned in my last video when it comes down to tokenized equities. It's actually funny that it's like I dropped this video and then this coin comes out of nowhere, legit like a day or two later. Exactly what I was talking about. This to me is a very bullish coin. First off, though, I've been looking into it, trying to figure it out. This to me has all the fundamentals to go on a decent run going forward. I still can't tell if I don't think it's a scam at all. I think it seems pretty strong, but there are some red flags with it that I have found. Shout out to one of our, people in our Discord. He's also pointed stuff out after researching as well. We got a ton of very smart people, guys, in our Discord. Constantly, giving good feedback, information, research as well. We got a great group here, but yeah, Edel I think has just been looking good. I think, within crypto, this is dealing with, you can kind of read this actually. But this talks about their roadmap, building the global money market for stocks. So, let me see. Yeah, they want to bring the 2.5 trillion global securities lending market on chain, building the rails for making stocks accessible, collateralizable, and yield bearing. Trying to think too, because they have. Yeah, I guess I don't know. This is a long ass tweet. I'm definitely not reading this whole thing for you guys. But I guess right here, mobile application will deliver a familiar user experience inspired by Robinhood, but built entirely as a self-custodial wallet. The Edel app will enable you to buy and sell tokenized stocks 24/7, trade stock perpetuals with leverage, lend and earn yield on your holdings, borrow stablecoin against your portfolio, hold and spend using the Edel card. Like, this to me is almost like it's not really a neobank, but kind of operates in a kind of way, if you can make that correlation. But on steroids when it comes down to tokenizing stocks. That alone to me is just such a bullish concept that crypto has a real use for. It's just, this is something it's just so weird that it kind of just launched because this wasn't on my radar until I saw it launch, like the first hour, and I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I guess they have just different or they have different phases coming out though, and I found this kind of interesting. A new layer one optimized for financial assets. Unified liquidity layer for all tokenized equities, compliance ready infrastructure, enabling banks, brokers, and funds to lend and borrow directly on chain. That to me is very bullish. So, again, this is a new launch. It's definitely a lot higher risk than maybe some coins that have been out for a while. But I wanted to put this out because I found this like a very interesting token. It was encompassing exactly what I was talking about the other day in my video. And it was also a new concept that I was researching for a while. So the fact that it kind of came out like that, I was like, yo, this is it. So, I mean, I do think this definitely has legs going forward. But the reason why I'm telling you guys all of this stuff, not really with Edel specifically, but again, is if we are looking at Bitcoin, if coins are starting to move, if they're doing very well right now, and Bitcoin is still doing this, what do you think is going to happen when Bitcoin chops and finally starts moving again? Everything that you are holding with strength is going to crank. Absolutely run. And again, even if going into the next week to 3 weeks from now, all you're trying to do is catch a bounce, take your profits, and get the fuck out, that could be what you focus on right now. That is the exact main thing I'm looking at the market right now. Because apparently, still, this market, the reason why all of this kind of is playing out like this is because altcoins very much still heavily rely on Bitcoin going in the green. Not all of them, but it just seems like Bitcoin a lot of the time when it's down, alts are down horrendous. It's when Bitcoin is going up for a while, when altcoins actually just go up. And the main difference though is like in different times in the past, we've seen altcoins across the board just outperform for a long span of time. Even when Bitcoin is dumping, Bitcoin sideways. But this whole cycle, it's heavily relied on just Bitcoin's price action. If Bitcoin's up for a week or two straight, you probably know that some of the top coins with strength are going to be up right alongside it, probably going 10 times harder. So that's why I'm kind of bringing all that stuff up. But I guess we could talk about a few more. We'll talk about noise here because noise has been one that's very interesting as well. And I actually just found another new one today that I'm mentioning in Discord. But at the current moment, it seems like there's just been a lot of really good projects that have been upgrading, different developments, different things happening. But noise, in my opinion, actually has a pretty good potential for a base ICM coin. It's still fairly low in market cap, around 15, 16 million. I do have a feeling though, looking at this chart, if anything, this might come down a little bit. But again, keep in mind, right now, I do not hold noise. Okay, I don't own it. I'm just giving you guys research. Like, if I ever make a full call again on a new coin, I'll likely be making a whole video about it, telling you guys, yo, I bought in. But again, it's like noise. I'm just liking this one right now because fundamentals I think are very good for it. And I mean, the team seems very legitimate. They're literally, they got this dude's face, the founder, just on here. They're fairly active. I've spoke to them on Twitter on and off. Just literally like Twitter replies, nothing crazy. But what's bullish though is their Launchpad. They're very much so focused or like project focused with their Launchpad. They actually got a token called Oracle, which this was one we actually took a trade on this, and this ended up not doing anything. This was actually an L. I think about a 30% loss, and we cut out. I think we cut out over here, somewhere right there. But bottom line, I actually really like Oracle though, because this is going to be basically like the AI XBT for their Launchpad. I think it's pretty cool because what they're going to do is I should have had the tweets up. That's my bad. Because bottom line, they have a flywheel for Oracle right now, where they're going to be burning up to I think 50% of the supply that the literal. I think the same guy you just saw, one of the team members like replied to me in. They're doing a lot of burns, and the volume was nuts day one, day two. Very good stuff going on with this coin, and it's going to be a marketing engine for any and every token that is launched by Noise in the future. And that to me I think is very bullish also. And if you guys do not know me at this point, liquidity pairing is one of my favorite tokenomics designs in the current market. And everything is going to be paired with Noise. I love that. So that is just like something I've been, looking at. Again, I'm actually still bullish on Oracle, even though it is down from here. But, Noise and Oracle barbell seems fairly strong, I have to say. But there's just so many fucking coins in this market, guys. I haven't even covered privacy, anything privacy related yet. Aside from Nillion, which, currently it's not doing too much, but let me pull up a few other tweets that I have too. But another major thing is we actually had Velodrome and Aerodrome combine. They had a big announcement right here. One token, one engine, one liquidity layer. Announcing Aero, liquidity hub that is bringing the best of Velodrome and Aerodrome together, built on the MetaDex 03 architecture from Dromos Labs, which kind of built out these dexes. Consolidate two of the most powerful dexes in DeFi into a single system designed to scale across ecosystems. Blah blah blah. Capture more value. Yep. Yeah. But bottom line actually seems very bullish. But what I like about this, and for me personally, I've been just consistently looking at new tokens, guys. Lots of new coins. But something that I noticed is they're going to be expanding, well, two things, to Ethereum mainnet Arc and Syndicate. Syndicate was actually a launch through them a while ago. Many people are not even looking at Syndicate nor understand what it does. But in my opinion, Syndicate is also a project I'm fairly bullish on. But the thing with that one is I don't know how much hype that would get in the short term. But Syndicate seems very strong, I have to say. I really like it. I wish they could build out a little bit more of a flywheel. But it's something strong as well to focus on. And what that is, I'm talking about it without like actually showing you guys. But Syndicate, I have it up here. Another token on base. But this one is, this is one I've been watching for a little while. They're building out roll-up infrastructure on Ethereum. So what that means is when you are building, if you're a developer and you want to build a new, whether you want to build, I don't care if it's an app, a chain, something like that, instead of taking all the development tools, let's say because you want to build just an entire layer one or something, instead of you building like an entire layer one, building an entire chain, doing this and that, Syndicate actually offers a lot of the dev tooling and the infrastructure to almost make your own custom app chain on top of Syndicate. But you can think of Syndicate almost like a layer 3 launcher. But the fact that now that I'm seeing that Aerodrome, Velodrome are going to be integrated into Syndicate. I don't know if it's going to be integrated with Syndicate on their Commons chain, which is like their main, I guess, network chain, or if the Velodrome, Aerodrome, I don't even know what it's called. Was it literally just called Aero? Is going to be built out, as an individual app chain on Syndicate. Because if so, to me, that is also very bullish for it. But again, Syndicate, this one I've actually been in and out of. Currently, I bought it, I sold it, and now, I'm actually looking to start stacking into this one as well. But for the current moment, guys, like that's kind of Syndicate. They call it like horizontal scaling. That's what they're doing. It's a very interesting coin, but same thing. It's like I don't fully expect this coin. I don't know if it will. I don't fully expect it to, just have a full recovery and just go on a blast off run. Just off this Bitcoin bounce. This is just a coin. I just like to look into new coins, see what they do, see what kind of flywheel they have, tokenomics, team background. I just love researching coins And this I found very interesting. So again, most of the coins I just mentioned, the newer ones, I do not hold. But this is just to give you guys an idea of the coins that I am looking at, that I'm researching very heavy at the moment. And the last thing too, before I cut this too, I guess we talk about different narratives. 'Cause the narratives that I like to be looking at though is like, or the way I'm trying to look at allocating into a lot of coins currently is based off narrative. For me, it's like I want to find a coin that is something like what we got, maybe one privacy coin I want to be allocated into. Then I want to allocate to maybe one tokenized equities RWA type coin, right? Or something like, neobank type coins. Something like XPL or Avicii, which Avicii, bro, holy shit. Biggest fade. I posted it on Twitter today. Like we called that at 11 million, and I'm still butthurt about it. But anyways, things like that. I'm trying to just allocate maybe a coin per narrative because I'm not trying to buy into 10 different altcoins just to catch a bounce for a little bit. I just want to find the coins with a ton of strength, the best possible alts. But, once this is kind of consolidated in my mind, do expect videos incoming talking about specific coins individually and videos where I'm actually going a lot more in depth with individual coins because that is what I want to be doing for everyone. But like I said, I'm just not trying to rush anything in the market, just being patient, letting things play out. But outside of that, guys, that is what's going on. If anything, just be patient here. And yeah, we will continue to find some gems. We've already found a bunch of really good ones in our Discord. There's a couple that I haven't mentioned, but Edel I think is something that I really like. And again, there's going to be a couple more. Even privacy coins like Rail I think is very strong too. Rail fundamentally is probably one of the strongest ones for the market, but I just don't like the chart because it's been pumping so much. There's a ton of different coins, guys. So outside of that, I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.